Alright, so we got this 2007 Ford E-350 van, bus type thing. We got some ball joints we need to put in it because the lower ones are bad. I figure I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to do the upper ones also. Part numbers on these are K80196 and K80197. This is a two-wheel drive. The lower ball joint is like a threaded one, and the upper ball joint has this taper in it that goes into a ring for alignment to align your caster and camber. So I'm gonna take the wheel off and continue. Okay, so the lug nuts were 22 millimeter. I'm just gonna take the caliper off, right at the pad holder, caliper bracket. Just those two bolts. Those are, I believe, 21 millimeter. Yep, yeah. So those are 21 millimeter. I removed the ABS sensor off the frame and out of the clips here. This clipped up there, so I pulled that off. It's got that big tab, so you don't have to really worry too much about the little Christmas tree thing breaking. So I'm going to come over here, move the cotter pin, and loosen up that bolt, and then I have to get this bolt out. It's a pinch bolt that's up here. So that upper ball joint, the stud sticks up through this little nut here. It's like an alignment thing. So you rotate this, and it kind of spins it around to change your caster and camber angles and stuff. So I'm going to mark this so I know where to put it when I put it back together. I'm going to try to not take this hub and stuff off, so we'll see how it goes, because I don't really want to play with the bearings and stuff in here, so I'm going to try to complicate my life by doing it the easy way, I guess. I might have to take the tie rod end off. I don't know. What my plan is to hang the caliper bracket out of the way, and then just kind of swing this to the side and maybe put like a jack stand or something under it to hold it up, and then press the bearings in and out, or not the bearings but the ball joints, because on this style the ball joints are actually in the steering knuckle, which I'm not really a fan of because it's hard to hold it. It's kind of awkward, but I mean, it is what it is. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna start kind of freeing this stuff up. I'm hoping that this bolt isn't seized in there, because that'll be an issue obviously if it is. So yeah, my next step's going to be taking this bracket off and hanging it up, and then working on that lower ball joint nut, and then this pinch bolt. Alright, so with this top adjuster nut, you can see that this little point between the flats is right in the center of that groove there. This top pinch bolt nut is 15 millimeter. I didn't have any trouble at all with it seizing. I just kind of turned it and it turned pretty easy. So I don't think I'll have any trouble getting that out. This lower nut down here was an 1 1/8, or it might be like 28 millimeter, but I don't have that size, so I went with an 1 1/8. Fit on there pretty well. I tried to get the cotter pin out, but usually when they get rusted like that, they don't want to come out, so I just kind of bent the tabs up and I just sheared it off with the wrench, and they come right off like that, pretty easy. It's tricky if you want to reuse it, because then you got to drill it out or get the piece of cotter pin out of there, but for the most part, I'm not the type of person that'll change one ball joint and not the other. If it was like maybe like a Chevy with the independent front suspension, I might do one. Like if it was a top one, I would probably just do a top and not a bottom. If it was a bottom one, I would probably do the bottom and the top. This being the twin traction beam thing, it's pretty much like a straight axle. I got to take them both apart, so I'm going to change them both because I'm right here, and it's just for the amount of money and the amount of time, I just do them both. So yeah, so I'm gonna finish taking that nut off, and then I'm going to take out that pinch bolt and remove the knuckle. So I loosened up the pinch bolt, took it off, and I took this type of head on a impact hammer, and I just went right on the top of the ball joint and popped it down. I'm gonna have to take this clip off, I guess. But anyway, so I can just bend it up because it's got a tiny little bolt, and I don't think that's coming out. Yeah. So anyway, so I just drove it down like that. Lightly wiggle it, and it comes right out. Voila. So I'll set up some things. So here's the other in there. So I gotta get the ball joint press out and get the cups and stuff ready to press that out. So I'll probably set some jack stands up and then just prop it up, so it's kind of like up on the jack stands. Alright, so I'm gonna press out the bottom one first. That's how I got it set up. I got a cup that just fits over there, and the ball joint's so big that the pad on the arm here is smaller than the opening. So I'm just gonna push it out this way first, providing I can get the gun on it. Wrong way. So now, sometimes you get it so tight that it won't actually press it. Like it'll lock up tight. So what I'll do in a scenario like that is I take a hammer, a bigger one than this. This is just what I have in my hand, and then I'll smack it here or on the bottom of the rod, and like right where the socket is, and it'll shock it, and then it'll pop. So I mean, if you get it so it's not moving, sometimes just a tap with a hammer it'll shock it and it'll just pop open. Well, it won't pop open, but it'll pop the ball joint out. I didn't really have a problem with this one, so I didn't have to do that, but that's just something that helps. Dug up. So this top one, I'm gonna have to figure out how I gotta get that out. I might have to drive it out with a hammer or something, because I don't think I have the right cup for the for how small it is. At least not in the set that I have here. I might be able to use this. But I'll figure something out and then I'll come back and show you what I do. Alright, so this one I went with a cup on top, and I got a probably 3/8 piece of plate down here with a 5/8 bolt with a nut on the end to drive that through, because I don't have anything small enough. So I'll give this a try. So this is where I'll get pressure on it, and then you just tap the bottom. It kind of shocks it. But this one's gonna be a tough one, I'm guessing, so. And make a liar out of me. Yeah, so it popped that time. Sometimes you just gotta put a little pressure on it. Sometimes you gotta keep hitting it. This one doesn't seem to be that tough. Once it popped, it seems to be going now. So it's hard to hold this the way I got it. Let me try a ratchet. So this top ball joint seems to be some kind of special ball joint. So it's not, it doesn't go in flat, it seems. There's a, oh no, that's just how they pressed that in. They kind of messed it up putting it in. Oh, okay. So I guess that's what happens when you don't have the, I don't know if you can see that, but you know, whoever put this in didn't have the cup on right, and they kind of started cutting the edge off. So I gotta find obviously the cups and stuff that I need to press this back in, or the new one anyway. But yeah, this one doesn't seem to have anything written on it, but this other one, it's got like a weird taper in the cup, or in the top seal here. See, it's like bigger over here than over here, so it's kind of angled, it's not flat. I mean, the bottom's flat, it looks like. It's just this top seems to be a little different. Maybe it's just an optical illusion. It looks like this spot here is a little thinner. It's not as tall as it is over here. But there is a little writing on here, mount inboard. So I'll look in the instructions and see exactly what they're talking about. Like inboard's in, so they must want this mounted so that it's probably the dot is facing inside. I'll look and see what it's for. Alright, so reading the instructions, past this point, so it says to assemble steering knuckle to axle, install the nut in the lower ball joint and partially tighten to 35 foot-pounds, which should be a lower nut. Install the camber adjuster in the upper axle yoke over the upper ball joint. Be sure the camber adjuster is aligned properly. Tap the camber adjuster lightly into the axle yoke, which is your camber adjuster up here. Tighten the lower ball joint stud to 130 foot-pounds. Continue to tighten the slotted nut to the next available slot. Never back off the slotted nut to achieve alignment with the hole in the stud. So once you put this on and you get to 130, always go tighten it so you can get your cotter pin through your castle nut. Don't loosen it to align the cotter pin. Install and spread the cotter pin. Install the clamp bolt and tighten to 77 foot-pounds, which this is your clamp bolt up here. Can you see? The ball joints should be lubricated with a grease of good grade. Connect tie rod, install rotor caliper wheel, lower the vehicle, and align the front end of vehicle to specification, and check wheel balance is recommended. So, let's see, can you see? Yeah, so that's that nut, this bolt here goes to 77 foot-pounds. So I'm going to the nut. There it is. Don't forget to install your grease fittings. I actually was tightening this one to align it, and I broke it and had to remove the ball joint and replace it with the other one that I have, which was a bit upsetting, but it is what it is, and it actually went pretty quickly. So here's the one for the lower. You're gonna want to put your snap ring on, obviously. Let's see if I can just get it on. I got this hook. It's actually pretty nice. I guess it's a cotter pin hook. Works pretty well. I mean, I wanted something a little stronger than this little guy because I was kind of like bending it, and it's just, I mean, it's kind of like a big version of it. So I got this. It's taking a little bit of getting used to kind of work it into my tool routine, but it's nice. So all these seals here say install inboard. That's so the grease kind of goes to the inside, not to the outside, I guess. I don't know. But so I installed them all where the little arrow was pointed in. Let's see. There's a castle nut. Try to line this up. Kind of heavy. Then so zap this around. Huh. Well, it's gonna take some struggling, I can tell you that much. get that nut where I can get to it. That's the one. All right. I had another jack. I could just jack it up. But I don't have another jack, so... It's not turning. Whew. Got it by a hair. All right. So I think I gotta take this out, take it in, and then I'll tap that back over the ball joint stud after. Got 6 of these right in stock. Yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? I gotta figure out what to do with your.
You want to come in here for a second?
Did that figure out?
Great.
Let's leave them. Try this again. So, we torque that lower bolt to 130 foot-pounds, and I put the cotter pin in. So I took this pinch bolt to 77 foot-pounds. I used blue Loctite on these caliper bracket bolts, and I torqued those to 170 foot-pounds. I think 166 was the spec, but I just went to 170 because, well, yeah. And so we just put the tire on, and should be all set with this end. We'll just make sure your grease fittings are in and grease your ball joints, and that should be it.